Welcome to our permanent TSB Ideal Home Show video series, Meet the Experts, our 4-episode home inspiration and expert guidance series with special guests. Today, we'll be discussing autumn home style secrets. I would like to welcome our expert, Susan Mc Gowan, interior architect and stylist at Ashen Cloud. Before we start the discussion, a quick reminder that the autumn show is on from Friday the 20th to Sunday the 22nd of October at the RDS Simmons Court. It promises to be a fantastic show packed with choice, expert advice, and inspiration for your home. There's an early bird offer of 2 free adult tickets for a day of your choice. This is only available for a limited time, so make sure you register for your tickets as soon as you can at idealhome.ie. Susan, welcome back to the Meet the Experts chat and to the show. So excited to see what you're going to do this year. But because we have you here and we have your expertise, I really want to dig into autumn trends, seasonal trends. I feel like at this time of the year, we're also ready for a refresh. We want to put on our winter woolies, and this is the perfect time to get that inspiration from the show. So can you tell us a little bit about the kind of trends that are coming through this season?
Yeah, I think autumn is a brilliant time for trends. I think it's very much back to school. Everybody feels a shift in their environment, so it's nice to kind of introduce that in our homes as well. So this year I think it's a little different for autumn. I mean, the past couple of years we've seen like a lot of jewel tones, fruits of the forest, like deep plums and all of those sort of colours. And I feel there's a little bit of a shift this year to lighten the tone a little bit. So instead of maybe like the dark academia tones of, say, like dark emerald green and blue and all of that sort of thing, I feel like they're gone towards like ochres, warm ochres, terracottas, and some of the lighter colours of autumn. So that's kind of nice because it's quite easy to introduce those in your home, even though some of those colours might not be tones that everybody, it's sometimes easier to bring blue and green into your home. I think these colours are actually adapt very well to neutral environments. So it's a nice one to bring in, and it really sort of imbues a sense of warmth in your home. So I would say that it's going towards that direction, like not quite as dark as previous autumns, just a little bit lighter and a little bit warmer in tone.
I love that it's maybe not as dramatic, but there's still that pop of colour and punch and that warmth, like you say, that we all need at this time of year. Yeah. When you talk about trends, and I love a trend and I love incorporating it, even in a small way, but do you think trends are something people should lean heavily on? Is there a way that they can, maybe dip their toe in if they are experimenting with these new kind of shades that you're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I think nobody should feel pressure to kind of change their home every season. I mean, it's just about if you feel like a change, that there are varying different grades that you can kind of follow to bring it into your home, I suppose, without it being overly dramatic. So, I mean, an easy way is obviously paint. It's readily available, and it's an easy one to kind of transform a space, and probably one of the most transformative ways to transform your space. So I think paint, and if you are using these tones, you need to have kind of decent depth of tone. So we're kind of very mid-tone, nice depth to the ochres or the golds, those sort of colours. And I think that would really change your room dramatically. So paint is a good one. But that can be quite bold for some people as well, and it may not be exactly right. So I think artwork or even a lampshade, smaller accessory pieces are nice ways to introduce those types of colours in your home. Or the easy one, of course, is just cushions and throws and that sort of thing. And even those small little refresher pieces can just make you feel a little bit better about heading in for the extended period into that room for the winter.
And I love that idea of like a lampshade or a throw or a cushion, because again, you're not making a big investment, but we do need a little lift and a little bit of a change, and there's going to be lots of inspiration from you at the show for people who want to look into that. For when it comes to those changes then, like the cushions, the lampshades, or we have a beautiful setup here even with the books, that all comes under this category of home styling, which obviously you're an expert in, among other things. But for people who maybe haven't experimented with, styling parts of maybe their living room or a bedroom, is there ways that people can maybe, again, dip their toe in and get started?
Yeah, I think often what sets apart start, a home that is professionally designed to somebody who's starting off is generally colour. Safe choices are often made. It's like, oh, we need a couch. Okay, let's just buy a beige couch because we know that's going to work with almost everything. And homes or rooms develop in that way. And I think the danger is that everything becomes quite safe, so it's a safe couch, a safe this, because you might be spending a couple of thousand on something and it's an important choice and they want to make sure that it's going to kind of stand the test of time. So, using colour in those spaces can feel quite scary, but actually you kind of have to, sometimes you have to weigh it all up. So I would say if you're starting off on the styling, to plan, really, that's the best thing you can do. So not unilaterally choose pieces, like don't just choose your sofa, don't just choose a piece of art that you like, maybe plan the whole room. So decide what's going to go into it, make a plan for the colour, because then you will introduce those colour pieces. You might still have the beige sofa, but you might introduce the accent chair in a strong colour that's going to lift it, or you might know, okay, I'm going to need a bit of colour over here, it's going to feel like 50 shades of beige otherwise. Maybe I need a pop in a lampshade or a pattern in a lampshade, or maybe I need some colour in the art. So I would say plan it. I think it's when people kind of ad hoc buy on the hop that they find themselves with clutter, and they may not necessarily be things that they really love either. It's just, oh, that's nice, let's bring those candlesticks home. But, maybe their shelves are too narrow for candlesticks, or their fireplace doesn't have space for it. So I would say, try to limit ad hoc impulse kind of purchases and really plan. And also think about what you're going to buy. I mean, sleep on it, I think, is good advice, because I think we're all guilty of impulse buying. But if you actually sleep on it and you decide, do I really love that? Do I want that to be there in 10 years' time? Even it doesn't matter the cost of it. It could be an accessory, it could be a sofa, but you want to make sure that you really love the items that you're bringing into your home.
It's such a simple tip, but it makes so much sense, because we do get caught up in seeing something that we're really drawn to and then retrospectively having to find a place for it, which can be really difficult. So with your advice with planning, does that also feed into how people then can uncover their personal style? If people don't feel like they maybe know exactly what they like, it sounds like planning and taking that time is an important step in finding that.
Yeah, it's kind of like your personal style when it comes to fashion, I guess, that sometimes you don't always know, or maybe your body shape changes and it kind of changes over time. It's kind of the same with your home. It's good to find your style, and you may be influenced at a certain snapshot in time by current trends or whatever, but that's okay. I think obviously, we're all, if you're an interior enthusiast, you're partial to the odd doom scroll on Pinterest or Instagram, and they're good places to kind of start. But mood boards, there's lots of apps out there that you can just, and I do it every day. I do it for outfits that I'm planning, or I still to this day, if I'm planning even any change in my room, I'll photograph it, I will add the new piece in just beside it to see how is that working, So you are thinking about it, you're making kind of informed decisions. Yes, this is going to work in this space, or, we've all bought the wrong piece, we've all bought the wrong size artwork, or the wrong thing that doesn't fit, or the wedding present you got that you now have no place for. And, they're the things that clutter up our homes. So I would say just mood board, there's very simple apps that you can do that. Just put one picture beside each other, keep adding little bits on, and you'll know yourself, your instinct will tell you whether this is right, does this feel like me or not, and you'll get there.
It's such a great idea, and mood boarding is also so relaxing.
Yeah.
Like I used to do it all the time. I need to get back into it because it is such a therapeutic way to plan and everything.
Yeah.
And it sounds like everything you're saying for this autumn is to have a more considered approach. Life is so fast paced. Like you said, we're all on Instagram, TikTok, scrolling, getting inspiration. And it's really about slowing down and just figuring out what you want yourself.
Absolutely. I think that's exactly right. Just take the time to do it, and you will appreciate the work that you put into it. Even if it's only 2 hours that you might have spent watching Netflix, maybe put that 2 hours into planning something. It's a lovely therapeutic space. It's a nice thing to do, and give yourself that space to, shop around, to find things, to paste them together and see does it actually work. It's quite a nice thing to do.
Well, speaking about taking time to get inspiration and get it all together, you will be at the show this autumn with DFS at the Interiors Theatre with some designers who are going to create beautiful spaces. So what can people expect when they come down and see the space?
Yeah, it's really exciting this year. We've got a great bunch of Thinksters, we call them. So I'm creative director for DFS, and DFS's phrase is "What's your thing?" So I think we affectionately call the people who come on board Thinksters. And this year we've got 3 great Thinksters and influencers that are coming on board. So we've got Paul Kinsella, who many people know from his colourful exploits on Instagram and TV as well. And he has a podcast too, I think. So he is doing a very flamboyant scheme, which I think will be a feast for the eyes. We've got Kiva McGinley from Big Hill House, and she's got a beautiful sense of style. She's got a great commitment to Instagram as well. So I think people really like her and her home, her family, and her fashion. So I think what she's come up with is reflective of all of those things kind of coming together. And then we've got Helen Wright from Inside Number 16, who's probably one of the OG Instagrammers, who had a beautiful house kind of when Instagram started showcasing houses back in the day, and hers is stunningly beautiful. But she also has lots of entrepreneurial exploits to her name as well. She runs Cohen & Co. and her own design practice, and she runs a series of interior markets as well. So I think it'd be lovely to see what she's going to bring to the table, because her style is very, very popular, very much one that many people will kind of aspire to have. So there'll be lots in there. And I've designed a room as well. I try to dip into what I think is up and coming for the season. So I have a kind of what I spoke about earlier, a little bit of those terracotta kind of tones coming in, but also maybe it's not a trend, but sometimes I find instinctually that things are missing in the interior realm, and dare I say it, I think grey is one of those things that is missing for a while, and I start to crave things that so I think the grey greens, we've got some lovely grey green paint and that sort of thing, and it'll be nice to see some of the things I'm talking about, that maybe they're not so dark, how you can work with autumn, but it maybe being a little bit brighter than we're used to.
Oh, with all of those designers and room sets, it sounds like there's literally going to be something for every taste, which is so exciting. So no matter who you are, get down and see the space. Susan, thank you so much for everything today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
That is all we have time for today. A big thank you to today's experts for taking part in the permanent TSB Ideal Home Show Meet the Experts series, and for their fabulous advice. Today's beautiful set was styled by Studio B Homewares, who offer a beautiful range of furniture and sustainable homewares. Their service also includes interior design and home staging. And finally, don't forget, there is an early bird offer of 2 free adult tickets for a day of your choice. This is only available for a limited time, so make sure you register for your tickets as soon as you can at idealhome.ie.